Ciao, benvenuti tutti. How are you, loves? Welcome. We're live. Today is our fabulous Q&A with fabulous Chef Kelly Shay coming on. We just have to figure out, I'm going to figure all this out, lovies. I'm figuring all this out. We're figuring all this and I'm going to invite my dear friend Kelly, guests, your viewers. Here we go, sweethearts. Hi, Dr. Lars. Hi, everyone. Here we are, sweethearts. Okay, I'm bringing you on camera, Kel. Bring them on camera. Yes, we're making this work. Is it working? Is it working? Hold on, loves. Is it working? Is it working? Hey!
Hey there.
Hey, sweetheart, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, dear. Welcome.
Thank you.
Everyone, this is the fabulous Chef Kelly. Look at him in his fabulous kitchen. Now, we're doing this live. Elster's here to all. I'm sorry, Elster since high school. He can hit me later. Chef Kelly is fabulous. Chef Kelly graduated from the CIA. That's the Culinary Institute of America, guys, not the Central Intelligence Agency. Some people think that is a group, Kelly.
I didn't make the cut for that.
There's an echo. Great.
Of course there is.
So if Kelly talks when he sees your question, see if there's still an echo. So bring your questions to Kelly. He knows everything about sourdough, about bread, about anything, actually.
And if I don't, I'll make it up.
That's right. So post your questions underneath us. Then I won't speak, and Kelly can answer them, and I think the echo will go away. We hope. So, anybody has a question, just put it in there, sweethearts. Hi, Annie Lynn. Hi, Lisa. So, if you have a question for Chef Kelly, put it in your comments, and Kelly will watch it. Okay, it only happens when I talk, so best if I just speak, not speak. Don't speak. So post your questions, love, and Kelly will answer, and then I'll just watch you guys. How's that? Or maybe you can talk about this, Kelly. Just introduce friends.
Yeah, gee, thanks. See, the echo's not that bad on this end.
Okay, Kelly, there's a question.
How often do I feed the starter? I feed it sometimes every other day. And then I usually try to do it like 5 to 6 hours before I'm going to use it. And then that way it's kind of ready to do its thing. So the best way to see, all right, so let me see if I can adjust this here a little bit.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. So, like, the best way to check it is if you have, like, a dish of water, you can take the starter. This way you know if it's ready or not. You take a little bit of a spoonful, and you want to kind of see if it floats on the water, whereas this one's not. I mean, I fed it not too long ago. I don't know if we can, there we go. So it kind of sunk to the bottom. So if it would float to the top, then you know your starter's ready to bake with. So that's usually your good benchmark test.
Okay, great. Okay. Now, is it kept at room temp or in the fridge?
It's good to keep it in the fridge if you're not going to be using it. But I would say, like, usually it's good to, like, plan out your baking day, like, a little bit before the week. And then that way you can kind of get a good 3-4 feedings in before you're ready to bake with it. And then doing that at room temperature.
Gotcha. Okay. So if it's ready to bake, it floats.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Great one. This is my starter Kelly gave me.
The weirdo.
Oh, I see. Do you see that, Viv?
What was that one?
Bob said he's wearing earbuds so we don't hear Christina on your phone.
Let me. I don't know.
That's how that works. Okay. Not sure, sweethearts, if we can do that. This is the first time we're doing this, lovies. So let's see.
Let's see here.
Okay. So post some questions, guys. Okay. I know we're having a thunderstorm right now. That could be part of it.
Yeah, it just kind of ripped through here, but now it's getting bright outside.
Okay.
All right. Try this.
Here we go.
I don't know if that helps any better. Now I got nothing. Hold on.
I think that's good, Viv.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, I think that's better. I think it is. Oh, there's one from
No,
Allie.
I have not done the gluten-free starter. I've been curious about it, but I have not ventured into that territory yet.
Okay, sweetheart. So, yeah, God knows I've never tried it. I'm a complete novice in the bread department. God knows. So, if I put this in water, Kelly, then I'll know with it.
Right. But I would give it some good feedings first, and
Okay.
then just kind of.
What about if you can't use bleach flour? I've heard to feed it.
There's two schools of thought on that. I mean, I use bleached flour, and I haven't had any problems. I don't get the crazy wild, like you see these pictures with people in the rubber bands on the jar, and then it's got maybe this much over and above. Mine's never gotten that way, and that could be as a result of the bleached flour. But at the same time, I mean, we'll give you hold on.
Got you.
This guy here was a result.
Guys.
So this was a result. I do it strictly in a loaf pan. I haven't ventured into that whole multi-cooker cast iron type thing where you put the loaf on there and then cover it with the dome.
Correct.
I haven't gotten that far yet. We own one. We just haven't done it.
Right.
Not like we don't have the time. But so I usually do them straight up loaf, and it comes out pretty good.
Got you. Right.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are doing them in the cast iron Le Creuset. That's what I've
Exactly.
seen.
Yeah.
So Allie said, what about using fruits as a starter?
Yes, I have done that. I have used grapes before in the past. And I've also used, to help jumpstart it sometimes, if it's really, really sluggish and, like, say you've taken it out of the fridge and it hasn't really done a whole lot, I've used a little bit of pineapple juice to kickstart it.
Okay.
And that works pretty good.
Is that because of the enzyme in it, dear?
I think it's basically more of the the sugar in the juice.
Okay.
Kind of a thing.
Gotcha, sweetheart.
So,
yeah.
I've also used raisins before. I've taken, like, if I've had a sluggish starter, I've taken a small handful of raisins and put them in there during the feeding, and the wild yeast that lives on the outside of the raisins, that really helps too.
Gotcha. That's it. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Allie. Any more questions? Put your questions, love, so that I don't have to speak because of the delay.
So we also have another starter. It's in my proving box right now.
Okay.
But this one I made from, you take peeled potato,
Wow.
cut it into chunks, and you boil it, and you use the potato water as the starter for your, for the starter, and you give it a little bit of sugar as well, and that one took off like crazy. And in fact, this one was made with the potato starter.
Fantastic. So
Yeah,
what Lynn
that one
is
works really
asking,
good.
is the starter replacing the yeast?
Yes.
Yes.
Because there's natural wild yeasts that live inside that inside that starter.
Got you. Okay, sweetheart. Got it. Okay. They say there's no echo anymore.
Oh, great.
Well, that's good.
So that's working, Kel. Thanks, Bobo. That's great, sweetheart. He's wearing an earbud, Kelly. So put your questions, lovey, so then Kelly can see them below. Yes, the yeast replaces the starter, Annie Lynn. I have my starter here. You're welcome. I just have to do it. Here's Allie. Could I use honey
Yes.
to activate a sluggish starter like you do with commercial yeast? She asked.
I believe you could. Yeah, any kind of a sugar will help give it that extra jump start feed.
Gotcha. Okay, sweetheart. Gotcha. The echo's gone, they say. Only I have the echo here. It's all fine. It's all good. Hi, Patricia. How are you, sweethearts? So Kel, what was your interest? How did you start becoming interested in the bread specifically, like these kinds? Like, did it start with something? Was it in school? Just wondering.
I mean, I've always liked doing. I mean, ever since I started in my career or whatever, I'd gotten a great book called Bernard Clayton's Book of Breads, and we started. I mean, I started baking out of that from the very beginning, but I never really got into sourdoughs until a lot later on, and I had gotten the one. My first starter I ever made was from the grapes, and that's Nancy Silverton. She has a bread book out, and basically
Right.
it takes a while. It takes a while to build this starter, but you basically it's the yeast that lives on the grapes, the whole thing, and then you eventually strain that all out. You strain the grapes out after I think maybe 7 days,
Wow.
and then
Okay.
then you start feeding it. And but
Right.
I've gone through numerous starters. I've killed them. I've brought some
Right.
back.
Right.
In fact, I even keep. This is funny. Let me see if I can find it. There was that one down here. Yes, here it is. So this is my backup. So this is when my starters would overflow in the jar.
Yeah.
They would. I keep them in a bin, a plastic bin, and this is what would dry from the starters, like after they overflowed. And I keep this as a backup because you could take this and dissolve it in water and then basically start a starter all over again.
Wow.
So it's
okay.
So this is just like crumbled up, dried starter.
Starter. Oh, that's great.
I know it's probably backwards because of the using the selfie camera, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's
exactly.
it's
Exactly,
backup
sir.
backup
That's it.
sourdough starter. So
Fantastic. So my Aunt Lynn said, when do we know when it's ready to use, Kel, the starter?
the water test. So if you
The
have
water test, when it floats
you have
off
your
the
bowl of
water.
water, you take a little spoonful out of the jar, plop it in there. If it sinks to the bottom, it's not ready. If it floats on the top, you're good to go.
Okay. And then Allie asked, like, she feeds hers once a month. How many times should you feed it?
Yes, you can freeze starter, by the way, Allie. You basically you kind of have to get it on a schedule of how you want to use it. If you want to bake once a week, start 3 to 4 days out, giving a good feeding same time every day. It's almost like having a child or a pet, and you just kind of do that, and then just
Okay.
get that feeding going, so that it's ready to go for your actual baking day.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So Cheryl is asking, not to sound dumb. No question is dumb.
No,
How does one start a starter?
flour and water. That's it.
That's it. Flour and water.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
Okay, dear. Now, I watched one of the ones that said you start with whole wheat flour or rye flour. Does it matter the flour, dear?
It does help. I would say if you're just starting, go with unbleached to start.
Okay.
Go with a mix of maybe unbleached white and maybe a rye or a whole wheat.
Okay.
We don't. What we do here is we don't go with straight up whole wheat flour because we make a good amount of Irish brown bread here
Right.
for the family and stuff. I make a thing called wholemeal flour, which is pretty much more of a thing in the UK.
Okay.
So basically, it's whole wheat flour with the addition of bran flakes and raw wheat germ.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
it's got that great coarse texture to it,
Right.
and that gives it really, that's good to use for like if you want to have like a whole wheat. You could have a white starter. You could have a whole wheat starter. You can do a couple.
Right. Exactly.
So
Okay, dear.
yeah.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. I know before because Kelly and I did a rehearsal. He has another loaf there to show you.
The yes, the
There's a
plowman's loaf.
Kelly makes bread all the time, guys. Kelly has an astounding Pullman loaf. If you know what this is, it looks like. Look at it, guys. Look at this. Here we are. Kate. Oh,
Yes,
there's Mary
this
Kate.
is what
Kate
happens
makes
when you have a family. This is
of
what happens when you
six.
have a family of 6 people. Yes, you go through one of these in a day or
Look at the bread.
a day and a half.
Nice, Kel.
Of course. So Mary Kate asked, do you use specific measurement to feed your starter here?
Yes. I do in the beginning when I'm first starting to get it going. So I try to start out with like seven. I do everything by metric and
Yes.
scales. So I don't mess around with that whole cups
No.
bull crap.
Kelly has no time for cups. No.
So I found like through trial and error, the best thing is you start out with like 70 grams of a starter, and then do 50 gram feedings. Now here's the part. Here's the especially in this time when like flours can be hard to find sometimes. I think it's gotten a little bit better now,
Yes.
but you basically have what's called discard. So when you feed, before you feed, you pour some off down the drain, and you throw it away.
Got it.
So if you look online, you can find things to do with discard. You can do pancakes, you can do waffles. So because you'll still probably add like baking powder and that kind of stuff to it, but
Right.
it'll give a good flavor to your pancakes and your waffles.
Right. Fantastic.
But yeah, so I usually do 70 grams of starter, 50 grams of flour, 50 grams of water.
Okay.
And then that's my feeding. And then sometimes I'll double that. So I'll do, obviously, 135 or yeah,
Right.
1400,
Now-
1440 grams. And then, yeah.
Right. So you would suggest in baking, especially bread and for baking, to do everything metrically, right, dear?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the biggest tools I know, because Kelly gave me mine, is a fabulous digital scale, right, Kel?
Yes, definitely
Yeah.
digital
These
scale.
are the ones, guys. Like these are great. They're not that expensive, and I know they make a big difference. I know when I had to bake cookies for the chef I was working for, we did it by weight, and I know Kelly is huge on this. That it's the best thing to do. Yeah.
Well, the whole thing with metric is it makes it so much easier. Like if you have to cut a recipe in half or you have to double a recipe,
Correct.
It's basically all, and people get all freaked out because, oh, I don't know metric, and that's crap. It's
Right.
basically it's a number and a unit, and when you get to 1,000 of them, you change over to the next unit. That's all there
Right.
is. It's better than
Right.
trying to sit there and figure out, well, a third of a cup times 7 is, and then you're like, ugh.
Uh-huh.
So
I know.
whereas
That's true.
if you take 50 grams
Right.
times 7, it's 350 grams and done.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Allie asked, do you use the same grams flour to water?
yes,
Yes.
you always want to have even weight of your water and flour.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
And then Bob asked, will this work with homemade oat flour?
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Okay.
I think it should be fine. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha, sweetheart.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
which would be a good gluten-free alternative as long as the oats are produced in a facility that don't do wheat as well. So you have
Okay.
to kind of watch that so there's certain brands of oats that aren't always gluten-free.
Right. Now, have you done any gluten-free breads, dear?
I haven't, no.
You haven't. I was just asking. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that considered 100% hydration? Allie asked.
So the way that works is basically your flour is always your 100% mark of your recipe.
Okay.
So then what you would do is if you had equal amounts of flour and water, that would be 100% hydration. So, but therefore,
Gotcha.
if you had 70 grams, that would be a 70, like say if you had 100 grams of flour but 70 grams of water, that'd be a 70% hydration.
Gotcha.
So what you always do is
okay.
you take your amount of water and you divide that by your amount of flour, and that'll give
Okay.
you the percentage of your hydration.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. That's great to know. Great.
Yeah.
More questions, lovies? Bob says, yes, great, agreed. Because I know Robert is vegan and he makes a lot of his flours. I think he grinds them in the Vitamix, I believe.
Okay. Ooh,
I think. Yeah.
very
Do you
cool.
grind any of your own flours, Kelly?
No, but what we, like I said, we make our own, the wholemeal flour from the three different components. What I also do is not necessarily for bread. Well, for breads, I only use high gluten flour.
Okay.
And like, I'm not giving a plug to the restaurant store necessarily, but it's a good source to go to, and anybody can shop there. It's just the price difference, if whether you have the membership or not. But and it's hard too because we do a shite ton of baking,
I know.
and so we buy 50-pound bags of flour at a time.
Yes. Yes.
So
You
like
buy pounds of yeast when you have yeast. Pounds.
yes, yeah, and I bought. The other day, I found when I found yeast, and I was so excited. I bought two pounders, so we have about 5 pounds of yeast,
Right.
which is kind of crazy.
Right. That's it, sweetheart. Yeah. So the restaurant store is great. I know I do shop there as well, not for a lot of ingredient things, more for, pots, pans, those kind of things. If I need something,
Yeah.
that's I think. Allie asked, is high gluten the same as bread flour or strong flour like in Britain?
High gluten's closer to strong flour
Okay.
in the UK. Yeah.
Okay, sweetheart. Okay,
So
gotcha.
you'll find like a lot of like when I work there at the restaurant store, you'll find like a lot of your pizza places, they do all of their pizza doughs and stuff out of high gluten. So it has a higher percentage of protein in the wheat compared to, so you're looking at maybe like with high gluten, you're probably looking between 13 and 14%,
Right.
whereas all purpose is closer to 9 or 10.
Okay, got you. Right.
So
Right. Okay, sweetheart. Got you. Got you. And also, I was going to add, hi, Alyssa. Hi, everyone. So please leave your questions in the comments, sweethearts, if you have comments for Chef Kelly. Bob said, I also have coconut flour that he wanted to use.
um you probably, I'm not 100% sure on this. You would probably have to mix that with a couple other flours because I don't know if it would be strong enough. And I would be afraid that if you use just straight up coconut flour, you get something that's going to spread more than hold together. So
Correct.
I think you would kind of have to watch that. Yeah.
Right. Okay,
And
dear.
but I know like Bob's Red Mill also does like a straight up gluten-free like flour mix that people can use.
Right.
But
Okay.
I think you could probably interchange it, I would think.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, as long as you were mixing with a few other things.
Right. And I know almond flour is tricky too.
Yes, I would think I think you would have better results with cake flour or like almond flour and coconut flour with things like cakes and stuff like that.
Okay.
I
Gotcha.
think that would probably be a better because you have eggs in there as a stabilizer, and I mean once again that kind of takes the vegan element out of the equation, but
Right. Right. Like when you made the Pullman loaf, dear, how long does
mhm.
that do you have to have it rise for like a few hours before you do it?
So the Pullman is not it's not sourdough. This is
Oh, okay,
yeast.
dear.
This is yeast based.
So
So
yeast.
which is good. So what I do is I like for this I mix my flour and my water together just till it comes together, and then there's a stage what they call autolyse in French, and that's
Mhm.
basically letting it sit and letting the flour suck up all that water before you add your your yeast or what have you.
Okay.
But this one actually, I even just let it sit with the yeast for like a half hour, 45 minutes. So it was the water, the flour. There's a little bit of oil, and everything but the salt because salt is going to be a yeast killer.
Right. Okay.
Salt is what makes kind of reins the yeast back in.
Okay. Okay, dear.
Yeah.
Right.
So this basically once the dough comes together for this, you let it rise for an hour in the bowl, and then pull it out, work the dough a little bit, shape it into a loaf, put it in the pan, let it sit for another hour, and then bake that off. And when I bake it in two different stages. So I set the oven for about 460. so that it's really good and screaming hot. And we have actually tiles on the bottom rack of our oven,
Right.
like ceramic tiles, and I just put the whole pan right on top of that, which gives it a good lift. And I keep
Oh,
a
okay,
spray
that's
bottle. I keep a spray
right.
bottle, and I
Yep.
spray the hell out of it, especially the top, because that'll help develop a nice crust.
Right.
And then close that, and then I let that bake at 460 for about 10 minutes. Then
Oh, okay.
I knock it down to 420, and then do another 20 to 30 minutes till the loaf is finished and it basically taps hollow on the bottom.
Wow. Kelly has the process. The process. So, what's a sponge? Allie asked. A sponge.
A sponge is one of those things where like they take the sourdough starter and flour and water, and then they let that part rise before adding all the other elements of the dough to it.
Okay,
And
dear.
that's so
Got
that
it.
yeah.
They call
So
that
I
the
think
okay,
I think
sweetheart.
I think that's also what they call like a levain or a
A
levain or
levain. Okay,
in
yes.
French. Yeah.
Okay, got it. What and Bob asked, can we see the pan for the Pullman? I believe he said.
I like to know that too.
The
Um.
or do you have it, Boone?
Yeah. Let me.
Yes, I know
I
you have
did.
to stick
Hold
your
on.
earbud out. So good. Poor Kelly's gonna shoot me later. He has to run all over. It's all fine. You should write a book. That's what Bob said. There's the
Okay.
pan. Thank you, Kelly. There's the
Courtesy
Pullman.
courtesy of the Bethlehem yard sale. We got two of these for $1. This was like a mama
Oh,
find.
it's a mama find. That's great, Kel. And Rob said you should write a book. Bob said you should write a book.
Let it know about that.
That's it. Mama's gonna edit
Let's
it. Get going, Kel.
let's. Oh God.
Oh God. Kel just said, "Oh God." Bye. See you later. Kel's laughing at that one. I
I'm gonna
got
have
you.
Spanish class flashbacks.
Yeah, Spanish class flashbacks. See, Kelly took from my mom in Spanish. I was smarter and
For
took it
4 years.
Don't know how
I
smart
did
that was.
4 years.
That's it. 4 years. Kel, that's good. That's great, sweetheart. Now, Kel, how often do you bake bread? Do you do it every day?
No. Some days I get lazy and I don't do shit, and then some days I get on a roll and I'll make like 2, 3 loaves at a time. So it all depends.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I know a lot of people in this time have made a lot of bread. I've seen
Hmm.
a ton of bread, a lot of bread being made at this time. Yeah. Um, what was I gonna? Oh, do you have a foolproof recipe to share? Rosemary Migliore says, I've tried bread 4 times. It rises. Then when I transfer it to the baking, I don't know. Maybe we can see more, sweetheart. When I put it in the baking pan and give it time to rise, it never rises again. Hmm.
Hmm.
What do you think that is,
That's
dear?
interesting. I don't know because I kind of have to see the recipe and see what's going on there. Like, what are the other ingredients? Is
Gotcha.
is this? I'm wondering, like, is the water too hot? Is the salt? There's
Right,
so many
sweetheart.
things. Like,
Yeah,
because
there's so many
because
variables.
you always I know not everybody has like a thermometer, but a thermometer comes in handy. I mean, you can even do the hand test. But like, if your water's too hot, it will kill your yeast. So anything
Okay.
over 100, over about 135, will kill the yeast. So I
Okay.
always like I always run the water over my fingers, and if it's slightly warmer than what you can stand, it's slightly warmer than 98.6 or whatever your body temperature is. You don't want to
Right.
go too warm over your hand, and that should be okay not to kill the yeast.
Okay, sweetheart. Okay. So temperature makes a big deal. I mean, it's good to have a thermometer. Instant read
Yeah,
thermometer often. Okay, sweetheart. Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Great. Right. So my Aunt Lynn asked sweet rolls, question mark. Like,
Okay.
yeasted rolls, dear.
Yes.
Okay. What was your question, dear Auntie Lynn? Like, I know Kelly's made them. I've seen him make hot cross buns. Is that a yeasted roll,
Yeah,
dear?
that is. We did cinnamon rolls at the beginning of the quarantine.
Yes. There's Rosemary's recipe. It's 3.5 cups
Okay.
of flour, a packet of yeast, 1.5 cups of flour, of course, and 1.5 teaspoons of salt.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not 100% on that. Um,
Yeah, see, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that could be a big part of it too. I mean, it could be the
Yeah,
actual recipe.
it could be the recipe. Yeah, I know it can be very tricky. Yeah, Leslie's asking about Parker House rolls. You've made those, Kelly.
Long time ago. Yeah.
Long time ago. Okay. Yeah. That's the thing. Now, can you make also cinnamon rolls, those kind of sweet rolls? Can you make them with a starter too?
You can. Um, I'm not sure what I know there's an equivalent trade-off between using yeast and starter. You're better off finding an actual recipe that just
Okay, dear.
uses the starter in it rather than try and convert, because that could
Okay.
be,
Got you. Instead of converting
yeah,
one that uses yeast, don't convert it. Okay, sweetheart. Got you.
right, yeah.
Got you. What's the whole advantage of a sourdough starter over the yeast, dear?
Um, there's more complexity and flavor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and even in within the starter dough itself. So like for this one, I made it and then the dough rests for about 3 hours. And then what I do is I do this whole folding technique. So every
Yes.
half hour, I take it out of the proving box and then I just gently lift it and fold it over on itself and do that maybe twice every half hour. And that kind of helps develop the gluten and it also helps develop the gas within. So you get like those really nice air holes on the inside.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but then from that, after the 3 hours, you have the point of you could bake it. You know, it's developed enough to bake. But what I do is I put it in the pan, flour the top, put cling film over the top, and then put it in the fridge overnight. And that slow, cold fermentation develops that better kind of sourdough tang to it and gives you a little bit more intense flavor.
Okay, sweetheart. Got you. Got you. Great.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, we had a question. Allie said she gets confused with proofing. I don't have a proving basket. Do I need one?
Um. Oh, is she talking about like the
The
kind of the baskety Benetton?
Yes.
You don't
Yeah.
you don't have to have one. I mean, obviously you could do the same thing in a loaf pan. It's basically that's just for forming.
I see.
I mean, it's nice to have, but I don't think it's a necessity.
Right. Okay, dear. And Morris said, explain your proofing boxes, what yours is, dear.
Our proving box came as a weird coincidence. When Mara was working at Kirkland, they would from time to time they would sell appliances to staff at a good price. So she said, "Oh, they have this great electric oven," and we thought, "Okay, this would be great. We'll have two ovens because we have a gas stove." And we figured, well, we'll put the electric in the same room with it, and then we could have two for when it gets crazy here in the holidays. We could have two ovens. Well,
Right.
unfortunately, the house is so old that our landlord couldn't adjust the electricity to be able to handle this oven because it would need a whole new outlet and everything. So we kept it, and then it just sat there. And then I got the idea of we could actually turn this into a proving box. So basically, it's an electric oven that doesn't work. Um, and I'm going to show you this. This is crazy. It's one of those things you got to see it to believe it.
Okay. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Kelly's kitchen is brilliant. Love it.
Okay, so I'm going to switch over here. Okay, so,
Oh,
so
look.
so this is our proving box. Okay, and then it's rigged up so a heating pad that doesn't shut off. It's one you got to make sure you buy the kind that are used for pets and what have you.
Right.
So this stays on all the time, and then I keep a thermometer here. So then it's like let's see, will it show us? Yes, like 75. Try to keep around 75, 78 degrees, and then
Wow.
that's where we keep the starters. And then I have a little
Wow.
bit of extra space on the side to put the bowls in when I'm doing the rise.
Right, sweetheart. That's brilliant.
So, yeah, that's our weird little.
I love it. I love it. Very innovative, Kel. That's fantastic. Everyone loves that. They're all going to start making them themselves. That's great, Kel. Brilliant. Because I've seen people that have proving drawers, or there's proving drawers
Yeah,
in people's houses. I've seen people that have proving drawers. Okay. You know, maybe
Oh
that's.
wait, hold on a sec. I got like two different things going on here.
Okay, babe. All good. If anyone has any other questions for Kelly, not just baking, he's a brilliant chef. I saw that he's made something.
We might have to cut out. We might have to cut out for 1 sec because I'm getting like the past. The past is catching up with me. I feel like a time traveler.
Is that it, babe?
Hold on.
Oh, he's coming back. Is that good? Oh, hold on. I may have to invite him again. Oh. Kelly may have to come on again. Come back on, Kelly. He's gone. Sorry, guys. He's coming back on. Sorry, loves. He just may have gone out when he went to take his camera. So he has to come back in. And then I'll invite him back on, lovies. No worries. This is the first time Kelly and I have done this. Isn't it fascinating, though? Isn't it fabulous? So I'm just waiting for him to come back on, and then I'll invite him back on when he comes back on. Okay, I'm adding him. I just added him. So hopefully he's coming back on. Hi, Leo. There he is.
Okay. Oh, now somehow we end up doing the picture-in-picture thing.
Now we're picture-in-picture, guys. Here it goes. I don't know why. Oh, maybe because I had to invite you differently, sweetheart. Is this okay, though?
I guess.
Okay, sweetheart.
I don't know.
Okay, sweetheart. When he comes back, he's back, guys. Kel's right there. Can the proofing drawer get too hot, Kelly?
Yes, because I mean, once again, you don't want it to. Obviously, I try to keep it below 80 degrees.
Below 80 degrees.
I mean, basically, the whole thing was like kind of room temperature, but that's kind of like in today's standards, people keep their houses so much hotter.
Okay.
That you don't want to. But I try to go no higher than 80 degrees
no
for proving.
80 degrees, guys. Thank you.
And keep in mind also that the hotter the element, the hotter the area that you're proving in,
yes,
the faster it's going to go. So you kind of have to adjust your recipe as well.
Okay.
So if they tell you it needs to rise for an hour, you may not want to go that full hour.
Okay.
Because you'll overprove and then you end up with this wonky, huge thing that looks weird. Yeah.
Overproof thing.
We've done that.
Oh, have you? I want to see overproof things. Everybody loves this, Kelly. I'm having comments. Kel, you're a natural. Kel, do this again. They want wait for it. You're going to have sourdough classes, sourdough tutorials. Everyone's freaking out, of course. So,
we'll definitely do this again.
It is on the split screen, Kel.
Yep.
That's what they say. They can
see
it is. That's what they said. Yes.
That's weird. So it's only is it
record the process.
Is it picture-in-picture on your end?
Step-by-step starter dough tutorial, Kel.
Oh God. Tell her.
God. That's it.
If she wants a really good starter step-by-step tutorial, go Joshua Weissman on YouTube.
Okay, sweetheart.
He's this brilliant young guy from Texas, and he's got a great, interesting story too, because he started out as a teenager, and he was massively overweight. He lost 100 pounds and went on. I think he went on the paleo diet.
Wow.
And then he kind of got into, because of his interest in cooking for himself, to help lose weight. He ended up making a career out of it, and then worked in restaurants, and then realized he was smart. He got out of restaurants, and then now he's doing the YouTube thing. He was on Binging with Babish, where they did the sourdough episode together, which is another good one to watch. But he has a lot of good like sourdough information on his YouTube channel. I highly recommend it.
That's great, Kel. Yep. Yeah, that's fantastic. Everybody loves this. Allie said, I want Kelly Shay from PA. Oh, that's well, Kelly is editing as we speak his fabulous YouTube channel coming up. Prepare yourselves, guys. It's going to be all.
Yes, he is.
I know it.
It's going to be interesting.
I know it because I know Kelly. But because I know Kelly.
Yeah.
And once we're back, we're going to do a live I'm going to come to Kelly's kitchen because he has all this stuff. And then we're going to do a live of bread. It's going to be a hoot. Whenever we can get back together, in 2020, whatever.
Absolutely.
Yes. Because we're going to come and do a bread in Kelly's fabulous kitchen because he has everything you'd ever want. He has a mixer that makes a KitchenAid look like a small child. Okay, he doesn't have a whole bar. He has a big mixer, lovies. So Kel,
It's a 10-quart.
Kelly, what else were you doing this past weekend? Kel also was foraging for nettles.
Yes, last week we went foraging for nettles down in Bucks County. I'd gone to the dog show last year with our friend Mike and had seen like all these nettles growing. I'm like, oh, we need to come back. So now it's that time of year.
Yep.
Spring is like perfect nettle time. And so I went foraging while Mara sat and read and took in some fresh air. And then went, had my gloves, I had my scissors because this sting like a mother.
Yeah, nettles are dangerous. I had them once and tried to clean them. You need scissors and you need a hazmat suit most of the because they do sting you and it's very painful. But nettles are so nutritious. They're a green. We will show a picture of them. I'll show you the leaf. But Kelly had foraged a lot of them and he made a gorgeous nettle pesto. But also,
it was probably
I'll show them what you made. You made an astounding. Of course, Kelly being Kelly made nettle gnocchi. Wait,
yes.
He's got to
hold on one sec.
Now I've got to move him again. He can wait till you see this, guys. It's a gorgeous nettle. Look at these guys. Do you see this? Oh goodness.
There we go.
Look at guys.
Yeah,
nettle gnocchi. Look, those look amazing. I just go cuckoo for the look at those guys. Beautiful, Cal. Just gorgeous. And I know Kelly said I asked him before going to make I believe
we're going to do Irish carbonara.
A bacon carbonara with those, Cal?
We're going to do Irish carbonara. Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to take Irish because we make our own Irish loin bacon. We'll go buy pork loins and we'll cure them. And then
Kelly cures you'll make your own bacon, don't you, Cal?
Yes. Yeah, we do our own bacon. Kelly
does it all. He cures it, he smokes it. You have a smoker in your backyard, right, dear?
There's a smokehouse, yeah.
Smokehouse. Kel has a smokehouse, guys.
It's a double-decker.
Double-decker. That's it.
It's crazy.
He can do ribs. He smokes the bacon. He does it all. Kelly makes amazing things. He also makes beautiful, what were you making? Lilac jelly. Is that what you made, Kel?
Yes. Yeah, that turned out really... I had to reset it this morning. Was still a little slightly liquidy in the center, so I added a little bit more pectin to it this morning. So hoping in another day or so that's gonna. The taste was amazing.
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know you make a lot of your own sort of things from flowers. I know you can do it from dandelions as well.
Dandelion. Yeah, you can do dandelions. I had seen one time there was a recipe online for you take forsythia. That was like awful. I've never had something so bad in all my life.
Okay.
But yeah, don't ever do the forsythia thing. That's
okay.
I thought, oh, it's it's a beautiful yellow flower, and no, don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Leslie said, if I hit the lottery, you're all getting a restaurant together. I'll pay for it.
No.
Kelly's like, no.
Kelly's done with restaurant life.
No. Believe me, we're all like, no. I've worked in I haven't owned one, but Kelly, God knows, has worked at them forever. I've worked in them, and then we both say, even if we won the lotto, no. No. Allie said, have you ever made rose jelly, Kel?
I've never tried rose, no.
Okay.
I love using rose water in a lot of things. When we used to make, at the restaurant, we used to make Victoria sponge cake. And we would put rose water in the Victoria sponge, and it's really good, especially if you had like raspberry jam in the center of the cake.
Yeah.
But the cake had that like rose water flavor.
Right. Beautiful.
That was really, really good.
Oh, I love a little bit of rose. It's delicious. Because I like the Middle Eastern desserts with the rose and the orange blossom. Have you made the orange blossom, dear? Or the
Yes, the orange blossom's good too.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I know we used that in something. I forget what it was, but yeah.
Yeah, I've heard them put it in some sort of a pudding. Sometimes I've seen.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's fantastic.
I think we also had rose orange water in. We had made sugar plums at one time.
Oh wow!
I think we even did them for our when we do the Christmas get together because they were vegan. The sugar plums were vegan.
Right. Exactly.
And, yeah.
Okay.
But those are really good.
Wow. Wow. That's fantastic. Guys, this is so amazing. So unfortunately, see, I have to stop at 4 today because we could go on forever on this and we're having Kelly back. This is part 1 for Maestro Kelly. I know he's going to say, no, I'm not doing this. But Kelly, you're an actor.
No, we'll do it again.
Fabulous on the camera. I knew he would be. He knows so much. I'm telling you, he went to the CIA. He's cooked for years in so many different jobs. Just the stories of his jobs, we could be here for.
We could make a whole episode out of that.
And it'd be like Kitchen Confidential on steroids.
Oh my God. all the private chef stories.
Private chef stories, guys. I'm telling you. Everybody. Allie said, "I've put real orange blossoms in a glass of water, and even that fragrance, the water. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yes.
the best. Yeah, Kelly's the best. That is right. Thank you so much, Patty. We're having Kelly back. I know he's going to. He'll tell you we're going to have Kelly back. He's going to kill me after this. He'll be like, no, yes, because everybody loves this, and then I don't have to cook for one day. We'll just show Kelly's fabulous things.
Boom. There we go.
We'll just show Kelly's fabulous things. But it would be great. Thank you, Maestro Kelly. Chef Kelly's brilliant. His now we have dandelion jelly is amazing. Oh, Sharon Berger did that. That's great. Fabulous.
That sounds awesome.
Kelly, Allie said you have to tell the Jell-O story next time.
I know. Definitely.
No name.
Oh. No.
No, Kelly has some astounding stories of personal chefing and chefing. I mean, we all have hilarious stories, but he has some fabulous ones. Really great.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Scotch eggs. Have you made Scotch eggs, Kel?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Scotch eggs.
Yeah, Scotch eggs are fantastic. I know even I want to make those sometime. I love eggs encased in anything. So
yes.
We'll definitely have to do that. But yeah, sweetheart. So I unfortunately have to go to a meeting. I have a school meeting at 4 for an hour and a half for all the faculty at the end. So we have to go do that. But Chef Kelly, thank you. And if
Absolutely.
you have any more questions for Chef Kelly, just put them in the comments, sweethearts, and I'll get them to him, and he'll answer anything you want. He's a fountain of knowledge, just amazing. So anything you want to know. So thank you, Chef Kelly. This was such a joy, and I'm so glad it worked.
This was fun.
And I'm glad it was fun for you. And we'll definitely do a cooking session together after all this is over, to show all the things. But I know his YouTube channel is going to debut soon, so watch out for this, guys. Prepare yourselves. This is going to be.
And also, you can follow kind of our, because we tried to do the business thing with a kilt and a cuppa.
Yeah.
So you can put a link into that, because I've got that Facebook page back up and running, and that's got the website on it. Okay. And so I'm gonna try and do a lot of the stuff through those two venues.
Kilt and a cuppa is Kelly's company name, where he also has a Facebook page. I'll put the links below, everybody, and I'll put it on my page so you're going to see everything. So thank you so much, Chef Kelly. You're brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was a
Absolutely.
joy. This was a joy. Thanks so much. We're going to do this again, guys.
My pleasure.
I won't let him. I'll go, and I'm going to go get him. I'm going to go to his house and get him. It's up there.
I'll willingly go.
Since I was 13, so it's fine. It's all good. We're great friends, and his family is just amazing. He has beautiful kids. A big family of 6, so that's why they make so much. He has 3 boys, beautiful girl Anya, and Miss Mo, his fabulous wife. So I love you all. Thank you so much, Sweet Pea, for coming on today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay, sweetheart. Have a good day, and I'll be in touch soon, and I'll put all the links below. Okay, love?
Sounds good. Okay, ciao.
My love to everybody. Okay.
Cheers.
Ciao, Bello. Ciao, ciao.